It is February the 2nd, 2025. Welcome into the channel, Tennessee Podcast. Let's talk sports, my friends. Let's talk sports, Austin. Let's talk sports, Jordan. I am Randy, your host, alongside Austin and Jordan. More Tennessee embarrasses the number 5 Florida Gators this past weekend. On3 has a top 300 signee rankings in football on their site. I want to get into that because it's very interesting. And Tennessee plays Missouri on Wednesday night. Let's preview that game. And Coach Cal takes down his former team in Kentucky. We'll touch on that as well. But welcome in, my friends. Welcome in our fans, the ones listening. I see y'all are all piling in right now. But welcome in the Channel Tennessee Podcast. Let's do the damn thing. Let's talk sports. Austin, Jordan, what's going on? Austin, how you doing, my friend?
Well, we didn't lose, so good. Tennessee actually played some good basketball. They clearly were embarrassed from the Kentucky performance and went out there with 7 players available and whooped up on Florida like no other. Went 6-0 all-time under Barnes versus top 5 opponents in the Tommy Bowl, and I think it was the highest margin of victory against a top 5 opponent in Tennessee history. So that was great.
How you doing, Jordan?
I'm doing great. Doing a lot better than I was probably around midnight Tuesday night. Emotional turnaround. But I'm doing great. Ready to talk some Tennessee hoops, Tennessee basketball.
All right, well, let's get into it because Tennessee embarrasses number 5 Florida after coming off a 2-game losing streak where they looked pretty bad. And it seems like in this game that we were talking about before we got on here, and Jordan mentioned it, about the 15-minute mark of the second half, you kind of saw things change, and the game flow changed, everything changed. Florida just they punched Florida in the mouth. It looked a lot like when Tennessee went down to Gainesville and Florida punched them in the mouth. I've got 2 points that I want to get to about what I think the team needs to do moving forward as in regards to making a run in March. And I think they're 2 pretty good points, but let's kind of break down. Jordan, what's your first thought after coming off 2 losses? The previous games, coming in and punching Florida right in the gut.
Well, I'll start with the Kentucky game, and then I'll kind of get into the Florida game a little bit Saturday. Number one, the Kentucky game. I mentioned this to you guys before we come on. Like, we let Auburn beat us twice. Is my take in the Kentucky game. As much. All right, sorry.
All right, go
ahead. But we let Auburn beat us. We let Auburn beat us twice. We were dead legged, which is why we jacked up 45 threes. We couldn't get to the rim because we didn't have the legs to explode to beat our defender 101. And it is what it is against Kentucky. We still, despite as bad as we played, despite as bad as we shot the basketball, we had a chance at the end of the game to tie the game up. I still think that we're the better overall basketball team than Kentucky. I think if you don't play that after having the war that you had against Auburn, and you play that maybe on a Wednesday or Thursday, I think we get them. And then you go into the Florida game, and I was nervous about that game coming into Saturday. And then when you wake up and find out Zakai's not playing, and then you find out right before tip that Igor's not playing, I mean, I gave us no shot, 0, like no shot. And it was a Rick Barnes special is what it ended up being. I mean, that was a Rick Barnes culture win. That was a Rick Barnes defensive win. And I was probably just as shocked as a lot of people when you see Zakai and Igor not playing and knowing what happened to Kentucky and knowing Florida drilled you down there 3 weeks earlier. But, it's not the first time you've seen Tennessee do something like that with a short roster either. I'm sure we all remember the Kansas game from about a decade ago when you only had 7 or 8 players. So it's as frustrated as I was after the Kentucky game, I'm equally as ecstatic after beating Florida the way you did without 2 of your best players. And now the schedule if you want to say lightens up, the SEC stuff, but it does lighten up a little bit moving forward, but you still got to go take care of business.
And I just want to say, I had all the confidence in the world going into this game against Florida. I mean, come on. I never have, I never, downgrade the team and don't have confidence. This team, I got all the confidence in this team in the world. So I called this game. I said Tennessee's going to win. Give me the kudos. Give me the flowers. I called it. I called it.
What?
Go ahead, Austin. What's your opinion on this game?
Well, my opinion on this game is Tennessee was pushed up against a wall. We were playing with 7 guys, and this is a game you really needed to win. I mean, we were facing losing 3 straight for the first time, and I think since 2020 in that year where there was no tournament. So it's been a long time since we would have faced a losing streak like this, and this kind of stuff could happen in the Southeastern Conference that's currently the best conference in the history of college basketball, maybe, but we couldn't afford for that to happen. And I had 2 sides of me going into this game. Like, one, we have no Zakai Ziegler, no Igor Milicic, and that's terrible, and we're probably going to lose because we're playing a team that just kicked our ass. And there's another side of me that says, like, we don't lose 3 straight under Rick Barnes, we're going to win this game. And we drug them into the mud that first half, and Walter Clayton did get up some crazy shots and made them, but we didn't let them get into their offense for the most part. And we kept getting harder in buckets. And you notice Zakai's presence was gone on occasion in the first half. Like, there were a couple times where Felix was out in the perimeter getting cut off. His passes were getting cut off, which I don't know why he's out there on the perimeter. But you could tell there was moments where we didn't know what to do. But outside of those moments of the first half, we found something around the 10-minute mark in the second. Took off with that, able to get a 3-point lead at half, and really stepped in their throats around the 15-minute mark in the second half. Just impressive as hell. Like, it's just even the officiating didn't help us much. They wouldn't call anything down low. But man, this game makes you really proud of what we have here, and why I've always been a big defender of Rick Barnes, because he's not just developed a program here. He's not just developed a place where you have good teams. He's developed a culture where guys know to step up when one of their guys is out. It's just you really find out what your team is made of in moments like this. And just like in previous years, this is made of some really, really great players and really great mindset players. It's just so impressive. But I will say, like, sometimes you see this in the sport, like almost losing a guy can make you a little bit better for a game, because it kind of, everyone feels that, and it makes them have to step up, and they all know it. Like, you can even see that Thompson-Boling Arena knew it, that Zakai and Igor wasn't there. You could tell everyone in the arena was aware those players were out, and we had to play a bigger part because the atmosphere was much better than most Saturday games there.
You want to know why the atmosphere was better? Because there wasn't a bunch of gray-haired morons everywhere in the arena. It seems like the midweek games are full of gray hairs everywhere. And that's just, I got to rant on that for a second. So sorry, I had a gray hair curse me out midweek last week because I was standing up cheering for my team. So it's less gray hairs, but go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, just the atmosphere was really, that was the loudest I heard TBA all season. I mean, you haven't had many games to really base it off of besides Kentucky, but it was definitely a level up from what it was. Like, I didn't have anyone look at me weird for making noise. I think I got one comment from an older lady in front of me, but that's about it.
She have gray hair?
Oh, the grayest. Yeah, rest just. I don't have any beef with old ladies. I know I'm always at Piggly Wiggly picking fights, picking out cards.
I almost got in a fight with an 8-year-old one time at a football game because my dad makes fun of me all the time about that. But it's a for real thing though. You're talking about Thompson-Boling, and we'll go off this whole rabbit trail right here real quick, but then we'll get back to the basketball game because I got an opinion just like you guys have an opinion about this game. But Thompson-Boling Arena, there's a problem with Thompson Bowling. A massive problem. Because I have never seen a fan base in my entire life that gets pissed at you for cheering. Like, have you guys ever seen that? They get legit mad at you for standing up and cheering. I had this guy last Tuesday night at the Kentucky game call me a piece of effing shit because I was standing up cheering. Literally. He said, "You piece of shit, sit down." Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, is this a joke right now? This is when we went on the run to almost come back and beat Kentucky. It was later in the game, and we were pressing Kentucky, and Kentucky was starting to fumble the ball a little bit. And this dude was telling me to sit down. Go home and sit on your couch, you bum. Like, I'm not. We're not standing for that crap anymore. And also, you said the person.
No, we are standing for that crap.
Yeah, stand for that crap. And I turned around and I said I had a lot of choice words for that man. Might have told him to hope he breaks a hip, falls. I don't know. But it is, Austin, we talk about this all the time. It's a little bit ridiculous. When you go to a game and you have people telling you to sit down. If you're gonna tell us to sit down, just stay home. Just stay home. And get pissed at your wife for walking across the den with your little peanut butter and jelly sandwich and your chocolate milk. Like, just quit. So I don't know. But that's a little rant. Me and Austin agree on that. Jordan, you've probably had instances where people tell you to sit down. It's just the most ridiculous thing in the world. It's crazy because the Thompson Bowling Arena crowd is so different from every other fan. Baseball, you got a lot of old people in baseball. That doesn't happen in baseball. Football happens sometimes. Not a lot. It may hurt a little bit. But Thompson Bowling Arena, holy crap. It's ridiculous. It's out of this world stupid. So that's a little rant. Austin kind of got me on it. UTK comments and said, "What section did this happen in?" It happened in 322. 322 is where it happened, but it happened down low too because I tweeted it out and I got so many comments of an old person yelling at a guy's kid to sit down, talking crap to a guy's kid to sit down. Like, go home.
I've never had that occur to me. Like, I couldn't imagine sitting there and being like, God, this guy's standing. Oh my God, this is such an inconvenience. I'm gonna have to stand up to see the basketball game. My God.
There are times where, like, me personally, I've never been to another college basketball arena. Thompson Bowling one is the only one I've been to. I've been to a couple of NBA arenas, but there are times where I wish TBA was smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not as small as Duke, but just as an example, like College Game Day yesterday, you look and you just don't realize how small some of these other arenas are until you kind of get a view of them empty in like a College Game Day atmosphere type thing or something like that. And then you realize how much more gigantic Thompson Bowling Arena is than most college basketball arenas. And it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing to have an arena that big. You know, I mean, as we all know, we all go to concerts, we all go to different things, and it's great to have that in this close of a proximity to be able to do some of that stuff. But it's also a curse in the fact that it's so freaking big that being a better atmosphere for college basketball is really, really hard because, number one, the students are so far off the court. You look at most other college basketball arenas, the students aren't that far off the court. You know, and most other college basketball arenas, the students are right behind the bench, making an even bigger ruckus. And then the fans themselves are so far away from the court. And there's just, it goes back to the, wine and cheese crowd of the gray hairs that have been there. It's literally like they don't understand. Like, it's like those gray hairs have been there since the 90s and they've seen so much shitty basketball. They don't know what to do now that we're actually good. Even though we've been good for basically 20 years outside of, 5-6 years with Konzo and Donnie Tyndall. It's like they don't know what to do now that we actually have a legitimate top 10, top 8 college basketball program.
Yeah.
Would having a small arena be good though? Because wouldn't that mean like our big problem is that the gray hairs are have the best seats in the house because they pay the most. They are the highest ranking donors. Wouldn't that mean like those donors wouldn't stop going to the games? It would just be more of them and less of us.
I don't know.
I
It
don't
would
know.
also the noise would be more contained though. I will agree with that. That the noise would feed to the floor more. That's a big thing. I went to a game. We played up at Cincinnati. We drove up to it, and their arena is about 10,000 big, and that place was loud as hell. That was the noise just stayed there. It had nowhere to go. And at TBA, the roof is so high, and it's just the noise just doesn't stay. And the and I will say it's just weird to me. Like no one makes noise. It's like no one yells. Like I'm trying to yell like I'm at every other sporting event, and it's just like and I do, but I'm looking around me like I'm the only guy doing this.
Yeah, it's
It's
and in Thompson Bowling, it is the worst I've ever seen because we have season tickets to basketball, and I looked at my wife this weekend. I was like, "We're cancel our season tickets. I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm not going to go to these games and get ridiculed for cheering on my team, especially when you're playing Kentucky, one of the most hated teams in the country, especially for Tennessee fans when it comes to basketball. But dude, when you you tell me to sit down when Tennessee's making a late run in the game to potentially tie it or make Kentucky uncomfortable, like go home. Like stop. You sound ridiculous. You don't sound ridiculous. You are ridiculous.
There was I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter. I think I might saw it today or late last night. But you know how like most college like radio broadcast teams now have the camera that shows them. Alabama had it for the football game. So apparently Kentucky has this for basketball to where they have a camera on their commentators, their play-by-play guys. And it showed the Tennessee crowd behind the Kentucky commentators from the game Tuesday night. And this was, as you're talking about, late in the second half where it's still within a 10-point game. And the Kentucky fan put, "Oh my God, this is the worst crowd I've ever seen." And the Tennessee fans behind them, all of them are sitting down. Mm-hmm. It's like an 8 to 10 point ball game, 8 to 9 minutes to go, and everybody's just sitting down, like just watching it like it's a tennis match, just go back and forth and not saying a single. And it's just, I'm like, are you crazy? Like you should be up going nuts on defense, being loud on defense, and everybody's just sitting there with their hands in their lap.
It was the point of the game where Tennessee was making Kentucky feel uncomfortable. It wasn't like Tennessee was just, out there. I mean, they're missing a lot of shots, but there was a point in the game late where they made Kentucky feel weird. Kentucky was doing dumb things. And if you're a fan and you stand up and you start cheering and everyone around you thinks you're insane, buddy, I'm not the insane one. You're the insane one.
But it got ridiculous when, was it last year, the year before, that the lady brought the dog to the game?
There was a dog at this game.
There was a dog at this game this weekend. This is the same lady, I believe.
This is not Bark in the Park, man. This is a basketball game. We only get 2 hours here. This is only 2 hours of your week that has to be insane.
Sit down.
I wonder though, is it like I gotta keep screaming though, because it may be like what's that? Dead Poet Society, where they all get up at one time. They're like, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." It's like one guy starts yelling, some other guy starts yelling, but by the time you know it, there's a lot of people yelling. Maybe this is just something that has to get better, and maybe I will address this. I don't think the solution to get everyone to yell more is for Sterl to get any louder. I'm just gonna address that. I don't listen. I want you to yell. I don't need Sterl to have a mic and yelling. I don't. That just makes me feel like no. I don't want that. I like Sterl. All the energy's great. Oh, whatever. But it's a little hard on the ears. I will say.
I'll also say too. All three of us have football season tickets. The pre-game atmosphere at a football game, and the optics and the fireworks and the band and just what they've made the football game be outside of the game itself. It's a show now. It's like a concert, light show, fireworks show, everything in one. Like you're there for the game, but you're also there for the atmosphere. You get the complete opposite for basketball.
Yes.
I don't know what they need to do with music or lights or take a mic away from Stir the Pearl or whatever they got to do. but they need to really upgrade their in-game and pre-game, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they can or can't do, but they can do much, much better than what they have going on right now.
I agree. I guess we should go back to the game now.
Yeah. I said it was going to be a little rabbit trail, but you got okay. So Austin, you gave your opinion. Jordan, you gave your opinion. I'm going to give my opinion, and I know that we came out and had. It's easy to. I'm a big picture person. I'm a big picture person. I look ahead of me. I don't try to move my car right before I crash into the tree. I see the tree way ahead of me, and then I move my car. I can't get excited. I can though. Okay, let me reiterate. I get excited about a win. I do. It gives you energy because everything is fine when you win. Everything is fine. You get excited. The win over Florida, especially when it's over Florida, because I hate Florida. It's an exciting win. You did a lot of good things. You made a lot of good shots. You turned it on in the second half. You embarrassed Florida. That's a great thing. And like Austin said, Rick Barnes has never lost 3 games in a row. And I don't see him ever doing that ever here because he's been here for a decade, basically. But here's my other thought. I right now I don't trust this team. I don't trust them. And that's just the honest truth coming from me. I can't trust this team because I've seen in the past month a lot more bad basketball than I've seen good basketball. Now, on the other hand, can they turn it around? Yeah, they can. But they've got to prove to me that they can turn it around. And here's how I think they can turn it around. Coach Rainey over here, Mr. Positivity over here, I think they can do these things. And let me know if you guys agree with this, okay? You need to limit Zakai's minutes out there. You don't need to play him 38, 39 minutes a game. You don't. You saw this in the Florida game. You don't need to. The offense changes when he's not out there. So when he rests a little bit, the offense picks up a different pace, a different swagger. It's not the same. But you also need Zakai out there for a handful, can't say handful of minutes, but a little, you need him out there because he can dictate a game. He can make a lot of plays. He's a very smart player. But on the other hand, I think you need to even it out with not playing Zakai so much and killing him, which is what you're talking about earlier, Jordan and Austin, about them just being so tired. Share the minutes with Zakai and Jordan Gainey. Jordan Gainey brings a different type of swagger, different type of energy. Jordan Gainey doesn't give a damn. He doesn't give a damn. He just goes out there and is like, you know what? Watch this. If it works, it doesn't. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. He's the kind of player. And the second thing is go to the rim more. Go to the rim. It really, really irks me when they go to the rim and try to get finesse. When they go to the rim and try to move around the guy and lay it up. Go straight up into the rim. Get fouled. They do too much finesse when they go to the rim, and they did that in the second half against Florida. They went up with the ball and not out with the ball. Go up, not out. So those are my two things. Would you guys agree with that about not like making Zakai not kill himself and switching the pace of the offense up and going to the rim more? Would you guys agree with that? Jordan, would you agree with that?
No, 100%. You and I were texting about this after the Florida game, and I think I texted you and said that Zakai is averaging like close to 33 minutes a game, and I think Gainey's around 26 minutes a game. Mm-hmm. It needs to be closer to 30, I think. I mean, for one, it helps Zakai for the long season. It helps his legs, helps his health and his availability. It doesn't wear him out as the season goes along. And, as you're talking about, look, I don't think it's any secret, anybody that I talk to, I'm the biggest Zakai Zeigler defender there is. Like, he's right up there as probably one of my top 3, top 4 favorite Tennessee basketball players ever in this program. Everything he's about, like, I love it. But I also think there's something to him dribbling the air out of the ball and
Let's say that.
yeah, and stalling the offense a little bit. Everybody seems to be looking around for him to do something instead of them trying to make plays. It's like, when there was a lot more, looked like a lot more just movement and ball movement and slashing and cutting and getting to the basket without Zakai on the floor. And you got to have Zakai. He's a team leader. He's one of the best point guards in the country. He's on his way to potentially being an All-American. But I also wonder how much is it to him again, dribbling the ball too much. I mean, how many times do you see him drive, go under the hoop, dribble back out? Like, you got to be able to move the ball around. So that's one. And then two, with Gainey, the thing with Gainey that helps this team out so much, and I've been on this take for like 2 weeks now, is Gainey's the one guy on the team that can get to the rim and can get to the paint consistently and also use his length to finish. And then he also has one of the highest free throw rate attempts on the team. So him being out on the floor helps this offense a lot because he's the one guy that can consistently get to the rim. Now, he's not a great finisher around the rim, but at least he gets there, and at least he gets to the free throw line. And that's an easy way. That's a way to generate easy points, is to get to the free throw line and get to the rim. So yeah, I agree with what Rainey said. Brings the Zakai's minutes down. Some. I mean, how many times have we seen it? Like, okay, you beat Duke in Austin's point. You beat Duke in the Indiana State tournament without Zakai. Earlier in the year, you beat Illinois without Zakai. And then, you close the gap with Vanderbilt there right before halftime this year without Zakai. And now you beat Florida without Zakai. Zakai is important. You got to have him. But I also think that this showed Barnes that you don't have to play him into the ground. You don't have to play him 40 minutes a night.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you just said this. I took a step out real quick, but I don't know if you said this. We went on an 11-0 run against Kentucky and took the lead before half without Zakai.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows our offense with Zakai, and they may know how to defend that really well. And then when you throw out a new look out there, it kind of throws them off for a minute, and it kind of does free up the guys. It breaks them out of the system for a minute and lets them know, like, we got to figure something else out. Now, there are times when, don't get me wrong, Zakai needs to be back. He needs to be the starter. He needs to be running the offense. But you can also limit his minutes to about 30 minutes a game, 31 minutes a game, and maybe let Gainey run the point some and have Zakai be a spot up shooter. I think there needs to be more variety on this team. It seems like we're a little too headstrong in certain directions, and maybe just opening the door to more possibilities will give us more options on offense. And right now, we need to do whatever we can to score points. The word
you're looking for is predictability. They're predictable.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't miss bad looks against Kentucky, but it just felt like a little bogged down at times.
It's predictable. Yeah.
I haven't talked to you guys about this. I've been talking to other people because I know you guys. I don't want to overload the group with a bunch of analytical, statistical stuff that's going to bore you guys. But here's the problem with, number one, this roster, 2 with Gainey, and 3 with Zakai. Number one, here's going to be my rant and my complaint, Rainey. How are you in year 4 of having Zakai on this roster and you have no legitimate backup point guard? And I don't want to hear anybody say, well, you got Zakai, nobody's going to play minutes. Every other program in the country has starting point guards, and somehow they find a way to find a backup point guard that can give their starting point guard time to rest throughout the season. Your backup point guard is your second best shooting guard in Jordan Gainey. He's your best bench scorer who comes off the bench, and it's Jordan Gainey.
Our last backup point guard was Zakai Ziegler in 2022. It's Kane Chandler.
Austin, I'm going to let you take this one. I'm going to let you take it because you have been harping on this forever. You really have about what's going to happen when Zakai leaves.
Yeah, it seems
You,
like they
you
have they've never thought of having an option B because it feels like there's always 5 minutes before a game when oh no, what's gonna happen? No, it's actually went pretty well this year, oddly enough, and I think Gainey needs to be the point guard. I think Gainey is the backup point guard. He ran the point pretty well against Florida. So is that the option? I mean, I know he's
it,
technically a shooting
it's
guard,
so
but
so right now, Gainey is the option as the backup point guard, and he's your bench scorer. He's the first guy off the bench. Here's the problem I've been looking at over the last 2 weeks. If you go off the data, the analytical stuff that I love looking at, the shot charts and all that stuff, your best lineup, your best five is Zakai, Gainey, Lanier, Milicic, and Okpara. Like it's by far, when you look at the data, that is by far your best lineup. They've played the second most minutes together on the team behind the starting five. And if you take their offensive rating of when they're on the floor together and compare it to the rest of college basketball, we'd have the number 2 offense in America, just having those 5 on the floor at the same time. Our defensive rating doesn't slip at all with those 5 on the floor. The problem is you can't play those 5 on the floor because you're who's going to come off the bench to score for you. If you put Gainey into the starting lineup and that's your best lineup, now you have nobody to come off the bench and be a scorer. Gainey has to play with the second unit because he's got to be on the floor when you have Cade Phillips and Darla Stone-Dubar and Jemiah Meshack and all these guys playing because nobody else can score the basketball.
let me throw something
Yeah.
out there real quick. Let me throw
that's the
something out there. Yeah, I agree, Austin. But let me throw something out there real quick. And Austin, you were at the game on Saturday. Can we talk about Boswell? Because I want to see if he sees a shot goes when he sees a shot go down, that guy is insane out there. Dude is all over the place. And I'm so glad that we were shorthanded on Saturday because Boswell showed what he could do. He didn't score at all, but holy hell, did he make some plays? And he shoots and he misses or it gets blocked. But I want to see a shot for his sake go down because when he shot that 3 on Saturday, I was praying it went in and he saw it go in. Because once that man sees a shot go in, that gets dangerous, man. He really is dangerous. That guy really opened my eyes on Saturday. He was all over the court. And he was everywhere, especially on defense. Dude was everywhere. I want to get y'all thoughts on Boswell on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously has a lot to work on. Obviously, but he definitely shows a lot of potential, and he fit well into the offense. Obviously, he's not going to be the best defender in the world, but he flowed well, and he played his role well. He gave it all on defense, and that play that everyone's thrown around so many times with Meshack got the steal, threw it to who we were talking about, Boswell, and then threw it to Cade Phillips for the dunk. That was utterly beautiful. You ran 3/4 of the court down without the ball touching the ground, and just the flow, the perfect flow there. He flowed so well with that system. And you're right. I've been praying for a shot to go down. I don't know how good of a shooter he is because he only throws up like 1 3 every 3 games. So it's just you don't really know yet. But maybe if he did see it go down, they'll start. I mean, surely if you're built like that, you're probably built to be more of a shooter than not. So
he's so fast. He's so quick.
He's quick.
So quick. I don't know how fast he is, but you saw how quick he was. He's so quick on the court, and it gave Florida problems. He was. You mentioned defensively he could get better in defense, which is very true. But man, he was a problem. He would have like if I was Florida like offensive player, he would have pissed me off. He was all on you.
I think I said back in December in some of the games where he got a few minutes that he had already looked better than what BJ Edwards and Freddie DeLeon did in their short time here. Like he already looks better and more comfortable on the court playing than what those two gave you. The knock on him coming out of high school was he's not very good on the offensive end, but he does all the other stuff really well. He's got an SEC body already. He's athletic to play in the SEC.
That's bad, Rick Barnes.
Yep. I mean, he's your typical Rick Barnes recruit. Defense, rebounding, SEC body, but needs work on the offensive end. And, I mean, I think you can kind of see that, like what Rady's talking about. Like, I mean, his shot looks good. It's just he's got to see one go in, but he does all the other stuff pretty well.
Mm-hmm. He really does.
But his offense, I didn't even think about asking him one question about offense. Rebounding and defense is all we cared about. I mean, it's true. Rick Barnes will straight tell you, I don't put anyone on the floor for just scoring. That is, I question with Chaz, but I'm pretty sure Chaz is mostly scoring, which is why we're just like, oh, he's valuing an offense. Oh my god. But
could you imagine like the interview process of like Rick Barnes recruiting? It's like, oh, you get on defense? Yes. You get on, you get it. You good at rebounding? Check. You good at offense? Yes. Fuck off.
Do you want to ask me any questions about shooting? No, not really. That where he fixed Kevin Punter's shot is the last time I heard any talk of offense from Rick Barnes, pretty much. But actually, you know what? That ran through my brain the other day, where he fixed Kevin Punter came over here, played a year with Donnie Tidwell. And was pretty good, or Donnie Tyndall. It was pretty good. And then Rick Barnes got with him in the offseason and completely changed his shot. They did 1,000 every Tennessee basketball game. They put up a video of how he fixed his shot in the offseason. And that made me think, though. I've been watching Darlin Stone DuBar, and he has one flat shot. It's like one of the flattest shots I've ever seen.
It's like he throws a fastball at the rim.
Yeah, and I wonder why Rick Barnes hasn't, or somebody not told him like maybe we should fix this. It's too late in the season.
I'm going to tell you something that's going to shock you. They did, because it looked 10 times worse last year at Hofstra. Like, I'm not joking.
It got worse. Does he just rear his arm back and just chunk it at the rim?
He would bring it to his knees across his body as he was bringing it up. Like, it was bad. Every shot was from his knees on the opposite side of his body. He'd bring it across and then up. And that was just like they got it towards his chest, and now it's up. But every shot last year was from his knees and up. It was bad. So they have fixed it. It's just it's still ugly.
well, so it's like
they have fixed it.
I mean, the car it's running a little better. It's just it's still a shitty car. But yeah, I mean, we've all shot a basketball before, and you sometimes get yourself back into your old habits. So I can get that. I just maybe, yeah. I mean, what was our big selling point with him? Like, our big why we want this guy so bad? Because he doesn't really do that great on defense. He gets lost a lot on defense. Offensively, he's just kind of.
Well, like, this will open up another rant for me, but they wanted him because at Hofstra last year he shot over 40% from three, and he had like 30 or 40 dunks or something like that. Like, he averaged like 18, 19 a game. I think, don't quote me on this, but they played Duke last year when he was at Hofstra, and I want to say he scored like 23 and hit like 5 threes or something like that at Duke. And he was, I think, I don't think he was the conference player of the year, but he was on like their all conference team. And the biggest thing, I think we talked about this back during the summer. The biggest thing is he was listed everywhere at 6'8". So they were trying to bring him in and let him play the Josiah Jordan-James role from last year, play some stretch four to be able to shoot the ball and you be able to. But then he showed up on campus and he's like 6'5". He's not 6'8". And they thought about not taking him after he measured so short. And then they finally just got together as a staff and decided just to go ahead and take him. And then throughout the summer, his problem was not understanding the defensive rotations and really not understanding what to do on some of our sets on the offensive end. If you watch him a lot of the times on the offensive end, he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, he's looking over to the sideline trying to figure it out. There were a couple of times where our ball handler Gainey was waiting for him to come up and set a screen, and Dubar's just doing this because he doesn't know what to do. So it's just he's not processing or understanding or comprehending exactly what all needs to be done on both ends of the floor.
That's great. Well, it's good to know. So you think throughout this year, and obviously this is his 1 year here, he's gone after this year. You think his role will remain okay? Come in, maybe get 10 minutes a game, maybe 12 or 13, and if you hit your first shot, you might go on a little run here with him.
Yeah, I think at this point in the season, this far into it, that's exactly his role. Which that's not what they expected, and it's not what he expected.
It's kind of like Tyreek Key.
They both expected him to come in and compete for a starting job and potentially win the starting job, but it's not happened. And then the more he didn't understand some of the offensive defensive assignments, just the further he got buried on the depth chart. So,
and add that not working out with Cameron Carr deciding I'm gonna walk out the door in freaking November or December. Really just puts us at a rough spot for there.
Yeah, it does.
Carr, that will forever just piss me off because like a game like yesterday, he probably gets like 15, 20 minutes. He's healthy. But he decided to say screw y'all. And I really saw potential with him. Obviously defense was an issue, but we've seen we're willing to work with defense, work around it on that with certain guys. And that guy got his shot going. He can maybe give us a run here and there. So that just will forever piss me off. But
it's just it's wild. It's wild looking at this roster in the preseason and thinking you were 9 and 10 deep legitimately, and then you look up and you got 7 players.
I will say, okay, the Kentucky game sucked pretty much everywhere. I did love the fact that Igor finally got going in SEC play. That was the first game of SEC play where he actually contributed significantly. I think he had 19, got some steals. He's been doing a good job at like forcing steals on the defensive end, pulling at the ball, and he every time he hit a 3, it was like we need a basket so freaking bad right here, and that's when he hit a contested shot. So when he gets back, you really hope he can step more into that role, and just because we need someone else to take the reins on offense on occasion, be the leading scorer. I think I want to be at a point where it's either him or Chaz being the leading scorer in pretty much every game. Gainey could be, because Gainey has all the ability in the world. But
let's
what do you think about Igor right now? Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead. Do that question, and we'll transition into the on 3. But go ahead. Your question was?
Do you think he's going to improve from like get better, or do you think he's going to go back to that role of 5 or 6 points a game?
It goes along with what I said about this team is they're inconsistent. I think every player is inconsistent. This team is inconsistent. We're going to talk about this after the next topic of the preview against Missouri. I don't know what to expect from anyone on this team ever. Igor shows out a couple of games ago. Before that, he was terrible. So, but it is basketball, so you're going to have those hot shooting nights or those great nights where everything's just clicking. But for me, with Igor, I think he's a massive key piece. I think now that Boswell has got some playing time, that he's a key piece moving into March. I do. I really do think Boswell could be something that helps us moving forward after seeing him in the Kentucky game, because not Kentucky, the Florida game. I was just really impressed by Boswell. He didn't care, man. He was out there just doing his thing. And this team's inconsistent. We need more players to step up, because we just said seven players. Went from 10 to 7, Jordan. You said 10 to 7 in the blink of an eye. So Milicic Yeah, dude. The dude's good. The dude can play basketball. The dude can play basketball. But we need this team straight up to just quit being pansies. Quit being soft. Go up with the ball. I'm serious. Like it's you cannot watch this team and say, "Oh, they're not soft." They're soft. This team is soft. So quit being soft. You saw this. Don't give me that smirk, Austin.
I mean,
how are you watching the games and not saying?
I'm not gonna call them soft. I just think they need to be.
Oh my God,
that
they're
needs to be more of the
soft.
mentality. You are the toughest defense in the league. So I'm not gonna call
I'm
them
talking
soft.
about offense here.
I
just said
know.
go
I
up to
don't.
the
I
rim.
wouldn't call
We're
it
not going
soft.
up to. We're not going up to the rim.
I don't think
on
they're scared to
defense.
do it. I think it's just they get in too much of a rut with the 3-point ball. They need to just do it more.
So you watch this team and say we're not
I'm
soft.
not gonna-
We go up to the rim. You are high as shit if you don't believe in that. Oh my God, what are you watching? High as shit.
I think Chaz needs to be more aggressive with it.
The whole
Chaz.
team. Oh my God, Chaz, you and Chaz, dude. When they go to the rim, they don't go up, they go out. What are you watching? Are you watching the same game everyone else is?
I think they over. I'm gonna use your term. I think they overthink it.
Don't say think. Don't say I think. Say what you want to say. Don't say I think.
What do you mean? I don't know.
Clearly,
Who the hell knows? I'm not in every team meeting.
clearly, you can watch every game and see that they're soft when
I'm
they
not
go
gonna
to the
Stephen A. this.
rim. I just, man, I don't know.
I
The great Florida was a great win. Team's inconsistent. I need to see more. I need to see more aggressiveness because we get beat every time we get beat. We get out aggressive. We get punched in the face.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I think we had tire legs against Kentucky. I agree with that. They were clearly just out of it for most of that game. And Florida, I mean, we did get punched in the face there, and they went on those runs, and we couldn't even make the simplest stuff. It's just, yeah, I there is some sense to what you're saying. I'm just saying, I didn't say we are soft because it's literally like every team's worst game on offense is against us on defense, and a team that plays the best defense in the country. You're gonna tell me all those guys are soft?
Hey,
It's
what I need you to
that's a
what
weird
I,
term for me.
what I need you to do right now is take your headphones off and clean your damn ears out. I said on offense, we're soft on offense, but you keep referring back to defense. I'm not talking about defense. I'm talking about offense.
Just putting a label of soft on this team is kind of weird for me.
Offense, Austin.
Yeah.
Offense. Not
I said
defense.
in what I said.
They
in
are
any
soft
term,
on offense.
in any term, labeling this team as soft is a little laughable.
Well, you're laughable for having to take that they're not soft on offense, buddy. Have you not seen them go to the rim? Are you blind? You have no eyeball at all. Like put on your glasses with your contacts. Holy shit!
I just think that needs to be more of a yes. Okay, whatever.
Anyways,
It's crazy. They're not soft on offense.
You're a pussy. I'm not sitting down.
I'm serious. Like, how do you watch a game and just can't see the?
You think they are scared to go to the rim?
They're not
because
scared.
of contact.
They're not scared. They're soft. Dude,
scared is soft, right?
That?
Being scared of contact. You said they're scared of contact.
You're not scared to go to the rim. Once you get to the rim, you go out. You don't go up, dude. You not understand this? Out, not up. They go out, not up.
I agree. That's what you need to do.
Then why? Then how are they not? I don't understand.
They're just that needs to be what they do. I'm not. I didn't agree with it. Whatever. This is dumb. We'll move on.
It's not dumb. It's fun. It's not dumb. It's fun. This is stupid. Like, dude, this is what makes a show. It makes a show. It makes a damn show. Anyway, let's move on. Top 300 signee rankings in football. On3 released a graphic today. Teams with the most 300 players in the country. I'm going to go through this ranking to get y'all's opinion. Ohio State has 16 players in the top 300. Texas 15. Georgia, Tennessee, Texas A&M 14. Auburn 13. Alabama, Oregon, LSU, Michigan with 12. When you look at that, Austin, and look at that, Jordan, what do you think of what do you think about that? Tennessee is right there with Georgia as top, 300 signees.
I think I think that's where you need to be. I don't know the statistics verbatim, but I read a post the other day that said our last 3 classes in a row are like our 3 best recruiting classes since 2004 or something like that. Like when you look at On 3 and you look at like their class rating each season, our class ratings 3 years in a row are the 3 highest of the last 20 years. And then I did look up the fact that in the last 3 classes, we've signed 3 5-stars. And from like 2006 to 2021, we've signed 5. So in the past 3 years, you signed 5. And the 20 years before that, you signed 5. So our recruiting the last 3 years has been really, really good. And, it doesn't shock me that Ohio State has 16. I mean, my God, they had a $25 million football roster, and now it's going to be even more expensive than that. It's going to be closer to probably $30 million this season with what they're having to do to bring everybody back. But it's what you got to do. Like, we're 7th in the SEC. You have the 10th best class, and you're 7th in the SEC.
7th.
But now I will say, though, okay, the top 2 classes, top 3 classes, there's probably a clear divider between having a top 3 class and then having the 7th or 8th. But once you get from like 4th to 10th, like in that range, it really comes down to having one extra player or 2. Like, because the ratings are so close to each other, there's not that big of a gap. But once you get to 3, 2, 1, there is a ginormous gap. But like 4 to 10, that's the difference in us having one extra. Like, I think it was the kid's name is like Lagonza Hayward. They ended up signing with Florida. He ends up being, I think, a 5-star, top 35 player. Like this last update, he was committed to us for like 9 months, and then he flipped to Florida. Add him into our class, and our class may be 6th, not 10th. Like, that's how close the classes are together. So,
if George McIntyre doesn't hurt his hand and miss a camp, he's still a 5-star.
Yeah.
Maybe we're 6th then. Like, he's still a great player, but apparently hurting your hand, not going to their camp, he's not a 5-star anymore.
That I don't understand how they do this, because that's 2 years in a row that our quarterback was a highly rated quarterback and just plummeted in the rankings. The year before, Jake Merklinger was rated a top 50 overall recruit and the 4th best quarterback in his class. He had a better senior year than he had a junior year and fell completely out of the top 200. Like, I don't understand how that happens. Like, I don't get it.
You want to see what's crazy? I'm looking at the football rankings of all the sites combined. Okay. And so we have Deshaun Bram and Marion Dye. They're 2 of our top recruits for the 2025 season. Every recruiting site has them inside the top 60 in the country. Deshaun Bram, I think that's how you say his name, is 62 on On3, 66 on 247 Sports, 42 on Rivals, 183 on ESPN. Let me go to the next one. Marion Dye, 42 on On3, 94 on 247, 180 on ESPN. Like, how do you come up with that? How in the world is that even possible to come up with that?
ESPN's so bad.
Like, you're so far away from everyone else.
How
It's
you-
just it's crazy to me.
how does that even happen? I always wondered about that because I think they had Nico rated as the number 40th overall player in the class, and he's number 2 on everybody and number 1 on 3. It's beyond like if there's any guy who's a major outlier, it's gonna be ESPN. Their ratings are always so far off, and it usually works out where players that are going to SEC schools are some reason the lower rated ones. I don't know. That's just usually how it seems to me. I just and of course, ESPN or on SC Network, they get all the coverage for that stuff, and all they do is promote the ESPN rankings. And it's like, you guys are literally using false information because these guys don't know what they're doing, who cover recruiting for ESPN for the most part. At least that's the way it's perceived nationally.
Mm.
But to any uneducated eye, you're reporting that for ESPN and SC Network, and it just creates confusion. And it's always bugged me, but overall, just having a class that high, it's proof that we're making steps in the right direction, and we might do something even crazier, like I don't know, develop a starting offensive lineman. You never know, man. It can happen.
Okay, so Ohio State has 16, we have 14. And also, you just said we're making like strides in the right direction, and we're right there with Georgia too, as well. Georgia, Tennessee, right there with Texas and Ohio State. Like we're neck and neck there. But like you said, Jordan, one player can change the whole freaking thing. So moving forward, Josh Heupel in this football program, first couple of seasons got Tennessee fans real excited. Next 2 seasons kind of brought them down a little bit. Offensive line, Austin, you just mentioned, can we develop a Degum offensive lineman? But what's even a bigger thing to me, looking at all these 14, 15, and 16, 300 top players in the country signees, is half of these mofos aren't even going to be here next year when they sign. They're just going to transfer. So that's just the craziest thing about this, because these rankings to me, and I feel like this is the honest truth, recruiting out of high school now, it doesn't feel like it even matters anymore. Like it doesn't matter. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not the same as what it was 10 years ago.
Oh.
Like it's just following high school recruiting, following National Sign a Day, keeping up with them. It's just not the same as it was 10 years ago. They've found a way to. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I think Rainey, I know for sure you did, but like, dude, National Sign a Day 10 years ago was like a freaking holiday.
Dude,
Mhm.
I would take off work.
Yeah, like you followed it, you kept up with it, like you basically sat on your couch and watched, whichever service you wanted to watch all day long. It was awesome. And like you enjoyed it all year long. You enjoyed it. Kids didn't, commit until late winter. Now these kids are all committed by the middle of the summertime. There's no recruiting to follow during the season because they're all already committed to whatever school they're going to. And then, like you just mentioned, heck, half of them are going to show up on campus and be here for 9 months and hit the portal next winter.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Trying to figure out. Have we lost any of the players from last year's recruiting class? I don't think we have yet.
I don't know.
I'm going through it like right now and just trying to see if any of these guys.
I've kind of stopped keeping up with it.
yeah, I honestly
I just don't care.
Mike Matthews.
I basically quit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just I mean, when we have a big time kid or something like that, I see it come across my Twitter feed, but you're literally better off not following it because it's going to do it's just going to do you no good to follow it.
I do want to mention one thing before we get off this podcast. And it does have to do with transfer portal. And me and Austin, we were talking the other day about this, and it's kind of crazy because you're looking at the transfer portal, you're looking at the people and players that transferred from one school to another, and the players that they got back in return from other schools. Jordan, have you seen Alabama?
I've not been really keeping up with them. They've lost a lot, haven't they?
And gained hardly any. Alabama is going to be playing legit almost all freshmen next year. Legit. Besides that one kid, that Smith, is it Smith? What's that kid's name? that freshman. He's only 17 years old. Who was
Oh,
that guy?
Ryan Williams.
Ryan Williams. I said Smith, but I meant Williams. But if you go look at their roster, they lost like 9 4 and 5-star players. And one of them came to us. And in return, they got like a running back from like Louisiana Monroe and stuff like that. So Alabama next year is going to be playing. I don't know who they're going to be playing.
So what you're saying is we're winning in Tuscaloosa.
I right now gun to my head.
He's hesitant.
Okay, where do we have a better shot?
I don't know.
Where do we have a better shot of winning though? In Tuscaloosa or in the swamp? Which one would you take?
Tuscaloosa.
Tuscaloosa was much easier, right? And they also,
Tuscaloosa.
I mean, at 10 out of 10. I mean, we had them for 3 quarters last year, basically in 2023 with old Joe. I mean, that was the best half of football he ever played the first half. So
That's a good one. The
I think we can
hesitation
get
for
'em.
radio that after. He's like, they had nothing but first, but they lost everybody, so we're winning next year. You're like, I don't know.
What do you think? I mean, hell, I mean, really? I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, South Carolina almost got him. Of course, South Carolina was pretty damn
That
good
right
last
there,
year.
that right there, what you just saw, Rainey's reaction. That's the first time anybody's ever witnessed Vol battered syndrome live on air.
Mhm.
He's been beat so bad for so long, it immediately popped up. Someone-
We gonna win there? Ah.
you talk yourself into it, and you ask somebody, "Well, we gonna win?" You're like,
That was funny. Your reaction, Jordan, was so good.
That's good.
Oh my god. All right. All right. Last question. How we feeling about this weekend? Not weekend. Midweek game against Missouri on Wednesday night. How we feeling, guys? We'll close out the podcast with this. Austin, I'll let you start, man.
Okay. Here's my thing. Right now, we look really good without Sky and Igor, but I feel like a lot of times you see that game 1 without all those guys and everyone has to step up. It's almost like an emotional thing. And then game 2 of being without those guys, that's when all that could settle in. And Rick Barnes said after the game, we should have Zakai back. And obviously Igor, it's just sickness, so he should be over it by now. It's 4 days since 4-day difference. I feel good about it. Of course, you want to say you feel good about it, then you look on ESPN scores and Missouri on the road at number 14 Mississippi State, winning by I think 30 or something. They blew them absolutely out of the water. But also, we'll say that you aren't probably going to play back-to-back, but back-to-back be that good, and also our defense is going to be a lot better than Mississippi State's. I will say that Caleb Grill, I think his name is, that kid looks freaking good. He's a freaking assassin from 3.
Yep.
He's a little white guy. He's one of those guys that just like you'll have nightmares about him if he beats the living hell out of you in March. One of those guys. So it's definitely a game we could lose, but I'm gonna say we'll pull that one out by maybe like 10 points.
Jordan?
we should win. We should take care of business. I mean, I go back to what I said when we first started. You let Auburn beat you twice. You shouldn't have lost to Kentucky. You get in now. You're going to have Zakai and Igor back. I think you may have found some rhythm as a team without those guys there. Adding those guys back, it's only going to help. It's at home. I mean, I know we just lost to Kentucky, but I think we've only lost more than one game at home. Only one time since like 2018. Like, I mean,
oh yeah, that the last time we lost 2 at home, I think Missouri was one of them. Was that buzzer beater game?
Yeah, it was.
That was that team that lost to FAU.
We went like, it's that season we went like 23-10, and then Zakai tore his ACL towards the end of the year, I think it was, and
Yeah,
we lost I think like 3 games at home that year. That's like other than that, you've lost less than 2 every year since 2018.
I can't remember. Yeah, I mean that. Yeah,
take out the year with no tournament. We're
2020. Yeah,
And I'll say too, because I know we really didn't discuss this. Believe it or not, we're still right in the race for a number 1 seed.
Yeah.
When you look at like who all lost yesterday, there's like 6 teams inside the top 10 that lost yesterday. Randy
Houston
don't
at
want to hear it.
home, Iowa
Randy
State.
don't want. Randy
I
don't
don't
Iowa
want
wanna-
State lost to
I
a
don't-
team
I
that
don't
got
wanna
their
hear that
9th win
crap.
of the year.
I don't
Iowa
wanna hear that
State
crap.
lost to a team that got their 9th win of the year.
I don't want to hear that crap. I'm sorry. I'm right now. Stop. Like for me right now, stop. Number 1 seed is not on the table right now. It's just
It's
not.
not?
No.
It is, though.
What team
But-
are you
but-
watching?
By fact, it is.
What?
Here, wait. Here, okay, hang on. I get what Randy's saying. I do.
I don't.
But here's
I
also
never
We,
know.
you never do.
here
You blind bat.
But here's what we also got to understand, all right? Like we're so zoned in on watching Tennessee play.
Exactly.
The rest of college basketball, like outside of Auburn, obviously being like the most dominant team, the rest of college basketball has issues too. I mean, Iowa
Hey,
State
hey,
lost
hey.
by like
I
30
feel like-
yesterday to Kansas
Let,
State.
let,
I
let
feel
me
like Jordan's a marriage counselor here.
let me
It's like,
let me get close to
that's
the
what I've
camera
been saying.
here. Let me get close to the camera. I don't give a fuck what anyone else is doing. I'm sorry.
Well, that's kind of dumb. You got to look at
No,
the big
it's not
picture.
dumb. It's not
How do you know how good your team is if you don't compare them to the rest of the nation?
because I watch other teams do things that we are incapable of doing. I'm sorry.
Like-
Sue me. Kill
Like,
me. I don't
holding a
flog
team,
me.
holding a Florida team that scored
Flog
over
me.
70 in every game they played and held them to 44 points.
That is awesome. Have you seen the previous games
It's basketball.
when we shit the bed?
It's a weird sport, dude. One team could beat. One team could look unbeatable. The next day, they could lose to Kansas State.
Like
I'm just saying it's basketball, and we are so focused on the team, and we forget the
get
fact
that.
this is a weird game, and there's a lot of off performances. We went from almost beating number 1 Auburn, who looked unbeatable at home in the freaking jungle. We almost beat them there, to like saying this team is done, dead in the water.
And that's my point. One win over Florida, like we are so back, like the dude off the freaking Hangover. We are back. No, it's
Yeah.
one game.
We're
It's
back.
one game.
We're back.
Oh, I know you think we are. We're number 1 seed, and Rick Barnes is going to go all the way. My name is Austin. When the fuck has he ever done anything in the tournament?
You're the only guy that said we're winning the national title, by the way.
Huh?
You're the only person that's ever said we're going to win a national title this season.
Oh, in baseball? Yeah, I was correct. Thank
No,
you.
in basketball. You said that.
Because we are. What's wrong with you? What the hell are you negative? What the hell's wrong with you?
I don't know. I try to just live. I try not to live in the moment. That's what I'm
I'm
trying not
playing-
to do.
Well, you live in the moment. You're the most in the moment person I've ever met in my
No,
life.
I just don't. I think
We beat
no,
Florida.
no.
Like,
My
"Oh,
thing is,
we're
my
gonna
thing is, this
win it
fan base
all."
will act like the world is ending over a regular season loss. Every time, every single time, it's throw everything out the window. We suck at basketball when we have a really off performance. It's just like, guys, the whole sport is determined by what happens in March. Maybe don't throw everything away right now.
Repeat yourself.
This whole sport is determined by what happens in March, and
All right.
I never thought the
Thank
season
you
was
for
over.
thank you for your opinion.
Dude,
That's all I
okay,
need to know.
well, tell me when I'm wrong. We lost.
You're
We
wrong.
almost had Auburn beat. Almost had Auburn beat on the Plains, which is an insane thing. No one's even come remotely close to that all season. We almost had them, and then we ended up losing it last second, just letting it fall out of our hands, and we lost that one, and we let them beat us twice with a really off performance against Kentucky. And the perception from this fan base was, this is a bad basketball team. The season's over. Am I wrong? So you went from almost beating a team that looked unbeatable in their house to being a bad basketball team, like within a few days. That's insane to me. And I don't live in that moment. Okay, guys, that's always what I've been trying to preface. Like, stop telling me like I feel like we've only been playing basketball for 2 weeks right now because that's all we're going to look at. The
Hey,
Vandy
what's
loss
the-
didn't help either.
If this was the group chat right now, I'd be dropping the Simpson gif where he slides into the weeds because Austin just nailed my reaction over the last 2 weeks.
Mhm.
After the Kentucky game, I was like, "We suck. We're done. We're not doing anything. Round 32 exit coming. Barnes' time's done."
I will say, if we came out and completely pissed down our leg against Florida, that might have felt like we're witnessing the beginning of the end of the Barnes era. because that would have meant our culture had faded. But our culture came through and we beat the living hell out of Florida.
Well,
so that restored
I'm
my
gonna
faith.
I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm Mr. Negaval. I'm the worst person in the world. I
You're like top 5 worst, okay?
like
Give yourself a
what-
little
at
credit.
least like Bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, Rainey. It's like right there.
You
Same-
got wait, no. Leland Rainey.
well, he's not around anymore. So, but anyways,
Greatest day on X history was the fact that he has.
but,
How? What? Where was the line? I mean, just like there was a line.
No, I just listen.
Well, Leland
listen.
found it apparently. Oh, I didn't even know. No, do we know what got him banned? No, has anyone heard?
Are you serious? Like which one of it?
I know. But
got
usually
him?
there's one thing that happened. Like obviously he crossed that line 1,000 times, but on X right now, it's kind of viewed to be there is no line. So how
Okay.
the hell did he find a line?
Speaking of line, free throws, Tennessee sucks at them. But I want to get to the last
yeah,
part.
to just turn everything into a negative for basketball.
I no,
We're
no.
sucking free throws. Mhm.
Oh my God. Like I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell my gut. Dude, I completely forgot what I was going to say because you started talking about a man that's irrelevant. So like, I just, my opinion on this is it's the same shit every season. Besides when we had Dalton Connect. Besides that, the same thing happens every year. Please, Austin, please change my mind. Please, don't raise. Look at Austin. Well, you know.
Let's look at it.
Same
My
shit every
thing
year.
has always been, let's look at the games, where we went home. Okay, I agree against Michigan. That was some shit right there. That should never happen. Loyally ran to Cinderella. Purdue, we fought our ass off. We almost won that game. I did not feel like we played bad.
Austin, stop. Say the round we got kicked out too. Say the results and the round. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not been great. I mean, but
Yeah.
we're there. Hey, how many times has Bruce reached the second weekend at his time in Auburn?
How many more Final Fours has Bruce got than Rick Barnes at Tennessee?
Some idiot from New Mexico State can make his free throws. He'd have none.
Well, that's okay. Okay.
But
I'm
Papa
silent.
Jesus
My name's
exists.
Austin. But luckily, all the games you're talking about didn't happen in March. They're happening right now. So come to me in March. If we make it, I will be a believer. But until then, I'm going to say the same thing I say every year. I don't trust this until it happens. I don't. I'm sorry.
1 second.
We don't have time for this. What's going on right now?
Where
We
is
don't
it?
have time to search Twitter and tweet and
I can't find it.
you can't.
Okay. It's November 21st at 10:20 p.m. This is a tweet by Rainey. It's November 21st at 10:20 p.m. November 21st, 2024. The Tennessee basketball team is going to win the national title.
That was positive, Randy. That's my alter ego. You don't even know what you're talking about.
You should go to an insane asylum. You have multiple personalities.
You should go to a state asylum and think we're going to win the national title in basketball.
I didn't say we're going to win that title. I said
you sure do. Damn, act like it. We're going to be
we
number
have
one
a
seed.
shot.
We're going to go.
We have a
away.
shot at going to a Final Four. That is my argument.
All right.
We have
How
a
much-
we have a
We
about
should, we
a
should bet money on it.
somewhere between 5 and 10% chance of going to the Final Four.
Where do you come up with these percentages in your head? You talk about insane. There it is. We have a 5 to 11% chance, 5 to 17% chance. You have these weird percentages.
college
every
basketball.
podcast.
Who do you think has a better shot at going to the Final Four right now? Alabama or Tennessee?
Alabama.
What do you think, Jordan?
Probably Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Austin. Yeah, Austin said there's no way
They
for
play
them to win.
defense.
That's
What?
that's
They don't
not the
play
name of the
defense.
game anymore. But
They didn't play defense last year. They made the Final Four. They
No,
were like
don't-
they were like 90th in the country.
RJ
in
Davis
defense.
had the worst game of his career.
don't say that to Austin. Don't say that to Austin. He's going to make up a million excuses.
I was so mad at that game. RJ Davis was such crap against Alabama. He
And
was
guess what?
amazing all
They're gonna-
year.
They're going
Had
to do
one
it
game
again.
that was absolute ass.
And they're going to do it
And
again
they kept
this year.
having him shoot it.
They're going to do it again this year and probably win the whole damn thing. Besides, if they can get past Duke.
I know you don't want
So-
to hear this, but luck factor is a huge thing in March
Why do we never get lucky? It's weird. Ain't that
'Cause we-
strange?
because God hates us.
We can't ever be the team that's hot. It's someone else. Anyways, thanks for joining this podcast. We went over way long because me and Austin went in a tirade of arguments. You probably can't even understand it on the podcast, but here we are. I had fun. The comments blew the hell up when we were arguing. The comments were going crazy. It was so funny. It was a bunch of laughing emojis, dead emojis, everything. So, anyways, great podcast. We'll do it again. Austin, thanks for being a good sport about everything. I give you so much shit. I give you so much shit.
It's like awesome.
I-
Thank you
I
for
mean-
letting me shit on you.
I don't even know what's happening anymore. It's just conversation with Rainey.
It's good. All right. Anyways, y'all have a good night. God bless. Go Vols. Peace out. We'll do it again next week.
Peace out.
Bye.
Go Vols.